right? So I like this. It's really helpful for organizing your information. And you just multiply across to get the interest. 12% of the money is interest. 10% of that money is interest. Add them together, get the total interest.
What is P? What is P?
P is principal.
Principal.
Right? So the interest formula is principal times rate times time. In this problem, though, it's 1 year, so times 1 doesn't really show up. Cool.
Rate and T,
T is time.
time and
Yep.
I, what is it?
Interest.
Interest.
Interest. Principal. Always forget if it's
Rate and time.
principal. That's good, Jeff. Principal.
Okay.
Rate.
And time.
Time. So this is I be pretty. Right? I equals PRT. So what can I do with this equation to make it easier to work with? If I wanted to.
Multiply everything by 100.
Beautiful. I want to move the decimal twice, so I multiply by 100. It'll make my numbers a little bigger, but it's a nice trade-off for getting rid of the decimals, right? So multiply this by 100, this by 100, and this by 100. Put it up over here. So what do we get here? Yeah, good. So it just moves it over twice. Here, 10, good. And over here, just add a couple zeros, right? How we doing?
You don't have to put the brackets back up,
Brackets.
those parentheses,
Yes.
once you change it.
These are here, but these were just here for this. And I've done that, so I don't need them anymore. Yeah. And now I just attack it. Now this should be the easy step. Right? Now I just distribute.
Plug and chug.
Yeah. I'm surprised you guys have never really heard that before.
Yeah, like that.
Right? And now this should definitely be the easy step. Then 12x minus 10x.
2x.
It's 2x. I can subtract that, 150,000. So over here I get,
This is
did I? Yeah, I did. Thank you. So over here I get
yeah,
10,000.
One.
5,000.
Yep, then divide by 2.
Sweet.
This guy's dumb. Put 10,000 in the 10% account.
Yeah, so this is the amount that's at the what? This is the amount that's at the 12%. So you gotta tell me this, right? And then what's at, how much is at the 10%? Like you said, it's gotta be 15,000 minus that. So 10,000 at 10%. I agree. If you're guaranteed 12 and 10, that's pretty damn stupid. But let's give him a little, let's say the 12% was risky and he just knew at the end that that's how much he made. It was like risky. So let's give him a little leeway, but, okay. Pretty damn stupid for forgetting how much money he put in these in the first place, but he's got issues. How do you feel about that? I mean, it sounds like some of you guys have seen this way. I personally like this way a lot because we use it with distance rate time problems too, right? You just fill in the parts. It's kind of a nice organizational tool for all the pieces of the problem. You multiply across to get the interest, and you add them, of course, to get the whole interest, right? Okay.
Where did you get the 2x from?
12x minus 10x.
Okay.
Yeah, just putting all like terms together.
Okay.
Oh, I can't remember if I pointed this out. Why is it not up here? Oh, yes, right.
Calculator.
Word Problems Workshop is coming up February 7th and 9th, I think, next week. So I haven't emailed that out yet, I don't think, but look for an email from me with specifics about the word problem workshops. Cool? Which is nice. They'll have handouts of their own. They'll go over all the setup for a word problem. Okay. So look for an email from me with information about those. Any other ones specific that you might want to go over?
want to our quiz for next Wednesday, 2-1, 2-2, and 2-3.
Oh, yeah, for,
Next Wednesday.
next Wednesday, be chapter 1 up through, actually, whatever we get through today, so.
Oh,
If we get through 2-4, that'll go around.
You stop now then.
I have a question.
Yes.
45. Page 129.
45.
I know the process.
Oh, okay. Number 45 is not a word problem. It's just one of our favorite phrases now, just a plug and chug problem. Because they give you the formulas you have to use.
Yeah,
So look at number 45. It's a little different, and believe it or not, it's actually easier than the other problems. Page 129.
29.
They give you the formulas that you need to use. So they give you all this backstory, but then they say the distance a boat will travel upstream is given by this formula. And the distance a boat will travel downstream is that one. It makes sense. If you're going upstream, you're fighting the current, so you're going slower. That's why I'm subtracting. I'm going downstream, I'm going with the current. I'm going faster, right? So this is upstream, downstream.
And
They give you the formulas, and they give you all the numbers to plug in. So that's why it's just purely plug and chug. It's not a word problem.
so,
They tell you that R is 10, C is 4, right? They say R is 10, C is 4, and then they give you this table for time, because that's the last thing I don't know, right?
What's R?
R is the rate. R is the, like me rowing, that's how fast I can row. C is how fast the current's going, right? So if I'm going against the current's pushing against me, that's why I'm going slower overall. R minus C. So if I'm rowing at 10 miles an hour and the current's going 4 miles an hour against me, overall I'm going 6 miles an hour, right? And if it's going with me, I'm going faster. I'm shooting down there on a goal time. Cool? Okay. So this is not the same as the earlier problems in this section. It's a lot more straightforward.
but he is asking like he give us the, what is it? He give like 10 miles per hour
Yeah?
in
10?
still water, so
Because in still water, that's how fast I can row the boat by myself. That's why it says still water. No help or hurt from the river. Right? That just goes right there. And C is the current speed. Right? So of course, if the current speed is faster than me, I'm going backwards. If it's the same speed, if anybody kayaks, you get that neat little, you're just sitting there while you're rowing crazy. So then they give you values for time. So what you can do for yourself really is, what's this formula for upstream really now with R is 10, C is 4?
10 minus,
What goes in here then?
10 minus 4
This will be, 10 minus 4 times time, which is 6 times time. So really this formula here is 6 times T. What's this formula going to be? 10 plus 4.
14.
14 times time. I'm going to go a lot further over the same amount of time because I'm going faster, right? So now they just give me a bunch of values for time. They give me what after 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So that's all you got to do in this problem then is plug in the values they gave you, and then plug in the last value you don't know. So when I plug a 1 in, 1 hour later, how far am I upstream?
So if you plug in 20,
So you just plug in a 1. So 1 hour later, I am 6, was it miles? Yeah. So they gave you the formulas. That's why this is not a word problem. In a word problem, you got to come up with your own formula. That's why it's so damn hard. Here they gave me the formulas. They gave me values for 2 of the things. So I go ahead and plug those in. And then they give me, well, what about 1 hour later? Okay, I'll plug that in. What about 2 hours later? Okay, I'll plug that in. So what about if I'm going downstream? After 1 hour, how far away will I be? 14 miles. And that's booking it.
But if then you plug in the 20, it comes up to a larger.
20? Where's the 20?
No, it's about 6, you give us like.
Oh, I'm on 40, I'm on the other one. I looked at the other one, that's why.
Oh, that's all right. So those with the tables, they give you the formulas. Don't make more out of it than it is. It's just purely plug and chug. Those with the tables. Just plug the numbers in, chug the numbers out.
Oh, so, but the 2 in there would be 6 times 2, right?
Exactly, yeah. 6 times 2. Because I know the formula is 6t. And I got that from what they told me. Cool. So now I just got to fill the table in.
Per hour.
So I could make a word problem out of it by saying how long until they are 30 miles apart or whatever. You know, so, and then, but then you could just look at the table and see how long until they're so many miles apart or whatever, right? I mean, this is not a word problem though. This is just investigating what's going on. Okay,
You have like these questions in the exam, in the quiz.
I could. This is really just an X, Y table, isn't it? I give you a function, give you a formula, and then I give you several values to plug in. So they gave you the formula, I just give you several values to plug in, you plug it in and see what comes out. This would be 12 miles, so forth. But it's a little weird, I agree with you. As you're doing your homework, you're doing all these weird word problems, and all of a sudden you get this problem, you're like, wait a minute, what the hell? It actually ends up being easier than the ones before it. But you're used to like number 45 being way harder than the ones before.
And the D is distance,
D is distance, exactly.
R rate, and C current.
Beautiful. Because what is the distance, rate, and time formula? D equals,
T over, no, R over T.
no?
Wait, time.
Because I mean, if you're going 80 miles an hour down the 8, 2 hours later, how far have you gone? If you're going 80 miles an hour, 2 miles later, you've gone how far?
160 minutes.
Yeah. Your speed times the time gives you your distance. We know that. Dirt, right? We had the IB pretty earlier, and now we have the dirt. D equals RT. It's the same formula they used, it's just that when I'm going upstream, I'm going slower, downstream, I'm going quicker. Same formula. So I do want to do just a little bit out of the next section before I let you out of here. And because the next section really, if you understand how to solve equations, inequality should not be that big of a deal at all. Same steps until the very end. Right, at the very end you can do more with the answer. What do I mean by that? I mean this, how do I solve, I'll say solve, graph, and give interval notation. Okay, that would be the instructions. So how do I solve this here? Watch F, I don't know yet. Wait a minute.
Change it to an equal sign in the middle and then treat it like a regular one.
Don't change it though, because you got to keep track of that inequality, because it might sometimes, of course, flip, which is the only real difference in solving. And sometimes you flip that inequality.
So you just
Do
put
the
the X's on.
parentheses.
Yeah, you do exactly the same steps as an equation. You distribute, so you get 4x minus,
2x
Plus,
plus
no,
minus
minus
4.
3x plus 4.
is it right?
And then you combine like terms.
Good. So there you get
Yeah, negative
2x minus 4.
2x.
minus 4. Then you want to keep the x's on the same side, then you're going to subtract 3x.
Okay, so you can subtract the 3x, right?
I was subtracting the 2x.
Or you can subtract 2x. Now, why would you subtract the 2x instead?
You always keep it by